After more than a decade since Shovel Knight's debut and 6 years of development, Yacht Club Games finally returns with a brand new adventure, Mina the Hollower. It's part 2D Zelda's top-down exploration, mixed with Castlevania's whip-toting combat in a gothic setting, and with a dash of Souls sprinkled in. Oh, and one awesome art style, like a modern GBC game. So is Mina the Hollower truly worth the extended wait? Let's dig in to find out. Literally, because Halloween is ridiculous fun, as it turns out. I love scheming ways to zip around the world and dance around enemies underground. And since you get a burst of speed, you can use it for longer jumps too, even if they can be tricky to land in tight spots, which the game definitely leans into with some tricky platforming action at times. And you'll be using this move constantly for exploration and combat. Like taking a breath before diving underwater, you'll have to think about how to best use that time of invulnerability before being forced to surface. And after such a long development cycle, it should be no surprise that you'll spend plenty of time exploring the overworld, which includes a ton of surprises, like weird characters, such as a giant shopkeeper that snatches you as you pass by, secret boss fights, panic when the safe space becomes not a safe space, and a friggin' clown that I swear will give me a heart attack someday. There's a lot to keep you on your toes. Especially as, get this, there's no map. Okay, you can actually buy a very simple one later on if you want, but for the most part you'll have to rely on memory and instinct alone. And I really grew to appreciate this decision, because all too often in Zelda, or in real life, I find myself flipping open a map to see where I'm going, which always takes me out of the moment and can make exploration feel artificially limiting. With no map, Yacht Club focused more on memorable settings, and while I was expecting more castles, there were actually a lot of outdoor areas, twists on Zelda, and beyond. So clearly there's not a lot of hand-holding. But the game does provide some light direction for each area through signs, and a few newspaper headlines to indicate what to tackle next. Though the route there is rarely a straight shot, with the path sometimes looping in a roundabout way. But your progress to get through a section is often saved, and you can unlock shortcuts such as by knocking down a rope to make backtracking quicker, and constant deaths easier to swallow. Even run-of-the-mill enemies can surprise and delight with their unique attacks, such as a Taurus whose stomps can redirect the flow of lava, or a jug-tossing frog who creates waves of fire. Or a knife snake that can even get the upper hand by attacking underground. Speaking of attacking, you have the choice of several main weapons, including a whip, daggers, or a slow but powerful hammer, and others you may find later. I gravitated toward the whip myself early on for its range and decent quickness, and found a new weapon with a parry that became my second choice. There are sidearms too that you can come across, like in Castlevania, that use up jewels, and the right one can really make a difference in some areas. Boss battles, as you might expect, can be intense, but also unique and memorable. Some for humor, some for their surprise, others especially for their large, gorgeous pixel art, and some for their gameplay. The ones I like the most generally change up the arena, such as the Duchess moving buttons, or the Bayou swamp creature with a phase while swimming that left a trail of deep water you can only burrow across. Defeating bosses is always satisfying, especially after the ones at the end of each area, as you're rewarded with an awesome looking ascent up to the generator, complete with a faux 3D effect, like the one from NES Kirby but on steroids. You get to partake in a really fun sequence with time pressure from an electric shockwave while looking for spots to burrow and send it back, and an amazing Jake Kaufman track to boot. It's fantastic and makes for a thrilling reward for finishing challenging segments. And make no mistake, Mina the Hollower is not an easy game, although there are plenty of ways to mitigate it. Part of this lies in the Souls element I mentioned earlier, where you permanently lose your money like in Shovel Knight if you can't recover your spark from the spot where you died. But another part of it also lies in how you can only refill your health based on how much damage you dealt, encouraging you to fight, rather than flee, towards the next checkpoint. Plus there's a risk-reward of how low do you let your health go before downing a vial to refill it. A cool way to go about health chicken instead of wall chicken. Through this trial and error gameplay, I eventually realized how important backtracking and exploring can be in order to find secrets to level up my gear, such as by finding different trinkets you can equip. I quite like the one that revived me after death, but there's a wide variety you can choose from to customize your experience, such as another that creates a tile on ledges. And there's another I won't spoil here, but it's a movement pun, and it's hilarious. Now if you still find yourself having trouble, or somehow wishing for more challenge, Mina the Hollower is some of the best accessibility I've seen in the game, with an entire modifier menu where you can toggle a ton of options on or off at any time to make the game easier, harder, or just different, such as adding checkpoints or removing them entirely if you want, or even making enemies die in one hit amongst others. Well, I didn't end up using any in my first run, as I found the game offered enough variety between the different weapons, sidearms, and trinkets to ensure I could always find some strategy to get through, This feature is perfect for players of all skill levels. In the end, Mina the Hollower is an amazing adventure that stayed fresh throughout my 30-hour playtime, thanks to its constant surprises around nearly every corner, and a fantastic feel with burrowing in particular being especially fun, and making me think about gameplay movement in a new way, and seeing how cleverly the world and enemies were crafted around it. Plus, the game is so polished that if somebody had told me Nintendo had secretly made this, I'd probably believe them. Except for some of the humor. For me, this is Yacht Club Games' best game yet, and I'm giving it GameXplain's highest score, mind-blowing. Mina the Hollower is a type of game that makes you love video games all over again. Thanks for watching. For more from GameXplain, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell. Goodbye.